Have you ever been told, hey, it's not a big deal, or get over it, or suck it up, buttercup? How did that work out for you? Well, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that today, about how it's okay to not just get over it. Hey, I'm Hillary Baggett, host of Hill Talks Momentum in Midlife podcast. As an occupational therapist turned entrepreneur at 50, I'm on a mission to connect, motivate, and inspire women over 40, 50, and 60 to know that no matter what, you can reach for that dream and know. As this episode is airing, we are entering the month of April, and sometimes there's a saying that goes, April, in like a lion, out like a lamb, meaning it comes in with that ferocity, that change in the weather patterns, and sometimes it can be so severe. In some parts of the country, we haven't even broached spring yet. But then when the month is going out like a lamb, it is calmer, the flowers are blooming, the grass is greener, and we don't necessarily have to get over whatever the tough part was, whatever the lion, whatever the roaring was that's in your life. We don't have to suck it up and just get over it. We can deal with it and move forward. So, do you have that person in your life that you consistently make the perhaps error in judgment of going to them for some kind of emotional support, empathy, advice, and they just kind of callously say, get over it. What's the big deal? Well, because we are all made uniquely, then what is a big deal for me may not be a big deal for you, and vice versa, right? So, personally, I don't find it so helpful for someone just to say, get over it, deal with it. However, there are times in my life that I truly valued the person who was able to listen, hold space for that emotion, and then say, okay, you felt your feelings, you have acknowledged how you're coping with it, but really, are you coping with it, or are you just resending that information around and around and around in your mind, going over and over again, bringing up those old feelings, that anger, that sadness, that guilt, or that shame? Because let's be honest, usually it is those negative emotions that keep us stuck, right? Being afraid of something and anxious about something. And we somehow think it's okay to worry over and over and over. But the reality is, it's not okay. It's not serving our bodies or our minds, or depending on your faith practice, your spirit. So it is important to have both kinds of people in our lives. Ideally, it's the person who allows you yes, you get to feel your feelings, and you get to set healthy boundaries, healthy limits, and not stay stuck. I know for me, there have been times over the past few years where I have felt like I was spiraling out of control, emotionally, sometimes physically, sometimes not feeding myself nutritious food, not staying hydrated, not getting the right amount of sleep, not coping with the stress. And just recently, I went to a craniosacral therapy appointment with a professional who I trust implicitly and explicitly. When I get onto her table, whatever needs to come out can come out. And at this latest appointment, afterwards, she said, Hillary, it's like your body was so deeply compressed because you had to. You had to be. You had to make it work. You had to hold it together. And now you no longer have to hold all that in or hold it all back. And it was so freeing. And when I'm on this table with a trusted therapist, I allow myself to feel the feelings. If I want to use words, I can. And to allow my body to shake or tremor and whatever is necessary in order to release that tension or trauma so that I can get off of the table and feel more free. I don't mind someone saying, "Suck it up, buttercup," but that needs to be after there is a safe space to be, to hold those memories, to feel the feeling, and to release them. A few years back, I interviewed a woman about emotional alchemy. And alchemy is the practice of literally changing what something is made of through a heating process, a cooling process, into something completely different. And when you meet the right therapist, whether it's psychotherapy, a hands-on therapist, whatever is the right thing for you, you can come out a changed person, lighter, freer, and so much more. I don't share too much about the body work that I do for people and help them, but I find it deeply meaningful. And when I am in a vulnerable space, that is not the time for me to be putting my hands on someone else. And if you are looking for a good therapist, I trained through the Upledger Institute, and they have a Find a Therapist piece on their website. And you can put in a zip code, you can look at their experiences. But I would like to suggest that before you allow someone to put their hands on you, you know, are they getting therapy? Are they doing the work? Are they overworking themselves and hiding their own feelings by helping others? Because sometimes, let's be honest, it's a lot easier to help others sometimes than to help ourselves. Sometimes it's easier to love someone else than it is for me to love myself. And I just want to encourage you. You can get over it. You can move on with it. But you need to find a sacred space, a trusted person, sometimes to be your guide, sometimes to put their hands on you in a consensual way. And then you can move forward. And then you can be strong enough for what comes next. Because we all know life is not easy. And we all have our struggles. So let's move forward. Let's let go. Let's deal with it so then we can get over it. I hope this is helpful for you. Do you know someone who is over the age of 40 that might enjoy listening to some of these stories or interviews? Please help me by sharing this episode. Ask your friends to subscribe and tell them a little bit about it. You know, the goal is so that people will know that you're not alone. This episode is brought to you by the Women's Midlife Network and Community Bloom membership. I hope that you know that the second Monday of every month we have meetings, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, to accommodate your needs and your schedules. Come and connect. Meet other women who are going through what you've gone through, maybe in a different way, maybe in a different stage, or maybe you are the support person for the next person. Come pay it forward and reach out. Thanks so much for listening. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you being an essential part of the Women's Midlife Network. We're connecting women. We're sharing stories and inspiring change. And not just for now, but for decades to come. I am so thankful for you, and I always hope you feel the love. Until next time.